food, water, air. If we don't have them, we don't survive. GT companies, gene technology companies like Monsanto, are basically associated with a technological fix to a complex problem. It's an oversimplification of how to solve the problem. It doesn't work. So why are we persisting with it? It's the magic bullet approach, a one-stop technological fix for environmental problems. It takes us away from ecologically sustainable development. So what that does is increase the extinction rate. It leads to a decrease in our biodiversity, which means there's a decreased capacity of organisms basically to cope with change, which then means it increases extinction rate, which decreases biodiversity. I think you've heard this before. Gene technology, if it's going to be used, has to be used as part of an integrated program of crop management. Technology assisting nature to deal with the pest species, whether they be insects or whether they be weeds. It should be taking us to ecologically sustainable use of our environment. In my opinion, gene technology companies like Monsanto typify the psychopathic behaviour of corporations whose prime motive, first priority, is profit for their shareholders. They're required by law to do that. And a distant second is public good, if it ever features. We don't need, we don't want that sort of corporate citizen. What we need from corporations like Monsanto and every other corporation is to put the first priority as being a public good. And that means that if genetically modified food is not in our best interest, you do not pursue it.
That we've got people like Monique, 6 months ago had no idea about this subject, but organised a rally. Isn't that fantastic? And I bet you there's a whole bunch of other people here today who are helping Monique, organising today, that weren't involved in fighting against this system 12 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Who here has just become aware of it and is standing here today? Fantastic. We need more of you people to join the new food system. So one of the things I'm going to talk about is that this, it's not even a system, what these corporations are rolling over us with. It's a machine. It'd be a disgrace to call it a system, because they just, and all of the companies, Monsanto, Syngenta, name them out, name a heap of companies, yell them out to me. Bayer, Nestle, there's one over here, Kellogg's, Agri, Conagra, Apri, Cadbury, absolutely, Campbell's, Kraft, Coca-Cola, absolutely, Master Foods. But the biggie of them all is Monsanto. Its pervasiveness. I mean, one of the examples of Monsanto is this building behind us here, which is Brisbane City Council, would spend more than $1 million per year easily on Monsanto products. And you pay for that through your rates. That's how pervasive this organisation is. Every time you buy Uncle Toby's oats, you're buying a Monsanto product. Every time you walk into a supermarket and buy something, and you can only look around you, look, just spend a bit of time looking at the person next to you. Just have a look at the person next to you. Now, Now, when you walk into a supermarket, do you expect tomatoes to look the same or to look different? Different. That's what you're going there for. You don't expect tomatoes to look the same. If Monsanto did the same thing they're doing to the food system to us, we would all look the same. We would all be born on the same bloody day to make it easier for someone to birth us. That's the same thing. So every time you walk into a supermarket and you try to find that perfect tomato, you're supporting Monsanto. You're supporting the machine. It's so pervasive. And, you know, the things that Kay spoke about there are essential to do, to lobby government, to write letters, to band together and support each other, to come to rallies like this. That's boycotting and doing something as a protest movement, but what are we doing to avoid it? You know, who in your streets are saying, righto, BCC, you don't have to put weedicide on this street anymore. We're going to take charge of this street and we're going to hand weed it. Tell them to piss off. Because it goes into our water systems. Every time you go into a supermarket, if you have to, and some of us have to as the last resort, every time you go in there, talk to the fruit and vegetable guy and say, why are all those tomatoes look the same? Why? How come I'm eating unseasonal produce? Why is that getting here? Give them, ask them questions. Don't be nasty. Ask them questions. So they go back into the room and they start talking to their manager. Their manager starts talking upstream. If you have to. But the best way of avoiding Monsanto is to support local growers. And if you can't support local growers, support organically grown, even Peruvian bananas if you have to. Because they're the only ones, and a few other certification systems are banning GMOs from the food system. So they're your two options. Local, where you know the farmer. Don't buy local. I mean, there's a market here every Wednesday, and not many of them are farmers. They're making out their farmers. Go and ask them, are you a farmer? Did you grow that? How did you grow that? Were your forestry belts, did you put a lot of weedicide out there to grow trees? It's in our forestry system. Monsanto own a lot of forestry companies. So when you build your house, inquire about where did that wood come from? What was used in the process of growing that wood? It's pervasive. It's everywhere. But the solutions are everywhere as well. And that's one of the greatest things about people power as opposed to corporate power, is there's a hell of a lot more of us than in corporations. A hell of a lot more. We are abundant. Like nature is abundant. A mechanical system is not abundant. It is one thing, it's monoculture. It is one, they want everything to be the same. So even if you buy off your corner grocer who goes down to the central markets, they're looking for bigger and bigger growers. And those bigger and bigger growers are forced into using more and more Monsanto products and Bayer products and seed systems because they're wanting the price cheaper, because they just want to go to one farmer. We want hundreds of thousands of farmers. Did you know that we are losing 76 farmers per week here in Australia? 76. It's actually gone up in the last 5 years. It used to be 67 5 years ago. And 3 of them commit suicide per week. Did you know we're losing 400 hectares of land, of good agricultural soil per hour here in Australia? That's 8 soccer fields a minute. We are losing because our farmers can't keep doing what they're doing. They've been forced out by mining companies, they've been forced out by urban developers. If you're a developer here, you know, you're a part of this system. Or you're a part of this machine that's rolling over the countryside and is destroying civilization. Don't worry about saving the earth. The earth's going to be bloody fine and probably better for not having us. And this is our last rally call to say, are humans going to be here for another 1,000 years? Is there going to be something worthwhile for our kids and our grandkids for 1,000 years and not having this 10-year lookout, or in political circles, a couple of year lookout? We've got to ask that question all the time. So, we've got to build a brand new system. How are we going to build that? How's People Power going to build that? So we need, we've got to look after local, but there are thousands and thousands and thousands of local growers who would love to go cold turkey on the chemicals they're using, but there's not enough of us out there buying it and paying a little bit more for it. That's one step we've got to do. When I went cold turkey on my dairy farm back in 1995, it was a tough gig for me to do. I had no one I was going to sell to. I just did it because I didn't want to support that system anymore. Farmers need your support. But there's a more exciting way you can get involved in the system, because while farmers are out there trying to do their best and you're trying to find the best option to where you can buy their produce from, we need many, many more enterprises creating that infrastructure that used to exist 50, 60 years ago. Social enterprises that are helping farmers market their produce. Social enterprises that are helping farmers distribute that produce. Social enterprises that are coming up with amazing financial ways of supplying them with the money they need to buy a portable abattoir on their place, or to put in a micro-processing plant for local cornflakes by a local farmer, and local rolled oats, local porridge, not this bloody Uncle Toby shit. So it's people power that's going to roll this new system onto the earth, to say something to Mother Nature, to acknowledge Mother Nature in the way we should. And it was great that Case acknowledged the traditional custodians of the land that we're standing on, and all the traditional custodians right around the globe. They are the ones that have taught us sustainability. And we need to respect their wisdom about how we're going to treat the land that we live on so that we all live sustainably, and do that with them in solidarity with all the peasant farmers, with the farmers, with the people who are stepping out of working for this mob here. If you're in government, if you've got a government job, get out. Because there's so many exciting things to do. Be your own boss. Get out and become your own boss. If you work for a corporation, get out and become your own boss. There are so many exciting opportunities, entrepreneurial opportunities, that you can get immersed in the new creative food system, the new creative water system, the new creative living system, the new creative financial system. A completely new system is what the earth wants, and a completely new system is what us people will deliver.
Brisbane shit all the time for being backwards and being a little bit boring, but Brisbane has completely embraced this project. I've come into contact with one person that hasn't supported what we're doing, and I think that shows not only all these people here, but the response and the engagement of this project shows that we care, and people are starting to talk more, and this is happening across the world. And for me, that is absolutely inspiring, that people are banding together to finally say, this isn't right, we want control of our food system. So I've seen some very terrifying responses to how we're going to deal with bee die-off, including new pesticides. It's a spray with multiple pesticides. If one's not working, let's just put more on and see how that works. It sounds like a great idea. And another option, apparently, that Monsanto, of course, are engineering is robotic bees. Yeah, of course they are. So it's not necessarily simpler than that, but I think it's a lot more common sense that is needed. We need to decentralise the food system. You know, in Australia, we're too big a country. We can't be driving bees up and down the country to pollinate crops. So we need to be supporting people like Food Connect. We need to be talking to our farmers at the markets. There's one farmer here that's at the Wednesday market. He grows pineapples, and he will talk to you for an hour. If you want to know how he's growing those pineapples, he'll tell you, and they taste amazing. So talk to people and engage people. Support people like Food Connect. Support local honey and urban beekeeping projects, and keep coming to places and rallies like this and talking to people without preaching to them. And thank you everyone for listening to me today.
for the health of our country, for the health of our people, for the health and happiness of our world. And we are part of a global movement. This is taking place across more than 50 countries in the world, and we're standing with them here in Brisbane today. And don't forget that we are also standing with the people who are not here, because we are representing what is inside the hearts and minds of Australians. We have figures that more than 90% of Australians now support labelling of genetically modified food. 90%! Because people don't feel that they have the information they need to make choices. Like many people out there say, I don't know enough, I'm not an expert on GMO. You shouldn't have to be. You shouldn't have to go looking for information on your food. You shouldn't have to be looking to consume healthy food. You should be able to find healthy food without being deceived by big corporations. There is also a growing awareness in the community that 3 big companies now control half of the global seed market, and GMO crops pose significant risks to our local farmers. So we stand with those local farmers today, who they have the right to grow non-GMO food, and we stand with them. Because we know that GMOs are not going to feed the world, particularly when the large corporations are holding patents over the genetic material, and they're charging high prices for those seeds, all while encouraging dangerous pesticide use. We say shame. One of the reasons that I'm a member of the Greens is because that's a party that wants to take action on this issue. But that action is not always well received. In 2010, we introduced a bill into Parliament that was food labelling bill, and that was not supported by other parties. And to that we say shame. The other parties are content to let big business control what Australians grow and eat, and whereas the Greens have consistently challenged dominance of large corporations over our agricultural sector. We are proud to stand with our local farmers today, because everyone has a right to know if their food contains ingredients made by GM techniques. Everyone has that right, and we want to give them that right. That's why we're standing here today. I am so grateful to have the opportunity to speak with you today, because the Greens want Australia to fulfil its obligation as a model world citizen. Let's not trail behind. Let's not play catch up. Let's be model citizens. But as you guys know, as a Green, we sometimes get accused of being anti-science when it comes to GMOs. This could not be further than the truth. Our objection to GMOs is that there is insufficient science on genetically modified crops, and that the science that is available is commercially controlled for massive profits. And in addition to that, those companies actively lobby against public fund into agricultural research and development. To that, we stand against the big companies who will not even let us research into our own food sources. This is not how we should be tackling food shortages. This is not how we advance science, and this is not how we run a safe society. I am a member of the Greens because we want a healthy and safe society, and that means doing everything we can to avoid climate change, to implement social policies where everyone is treated fairly, and part of that fair treatment is giving people access to information. It's giving our farmers the right to earn a good income and grow food for us that is safe and healthy, and a big part is informing the community about their food. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. I am so inspired to stand with you here today. We will fight for you. We will fight for our food in Parliament. We will take it to the streets and on the floor of Parliament. Down with Monsanto, down with GMO.
The great spirit and
fathers, I teach them. I teach about the Great Spirit fathers, also the Great Spirit mothers. Our ancestral beliefs have got nothing to do with religion. So please don't think that I'm coming from a Christian point of view or from a Catholic point of view or anything else. As far as I'm concerned, they're all one and the same. And when we talk about the exploiters of this world, we've got to go a bit deeper than politics. The religions of this world have had the sway of power for too long. And it's about time that that sway of power has been taken from them. Because most of the young people today are still searching for their God. And the God of this land is called Biami and the ancestors. And he is also your spiritual father. And the spiritual mother that melted all the ice away, her name was Yahai. I'd like to say something for Biami and something for Yahai before this ceremony you have here closes. O great Spirit Father, Lord Biami, look thou upon your children with favour. Grant us the strength and the wisdom that we may overcome injustices. But as we seek for justice, let us also be just. Let thy wisdom guide us in the ways of righteousness and truth, that our steps may be sure as we tread the pathways to eternity. In this life, with all its trials and tribulations, help us to understand what it is all about, that we do not fall into the ways of bitterness. O great Spirit Father, Lord Biami, watch over us and guard us and help us to find peace, love, freedom and happiness. In you we trust. I am eternally yours, Narundai. And I call this our souls, our land. Our land has changes before our gaze, and we seek to understand your ways. Your roads so cars can move about, your fences to keep people out. We see these things and we seek to learn, but deep within our spirit yearn. We know that you have come to stay, and to survive we must learn your way. You took the meat, you left the bone. Our spiritual truths we understand. Don't take our souls as you took our land. Eternally yours, Narunda.